All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm sure you know this by now, next week at a time like this, voting will have concluded in a majority of the 46,229 polling stations across the country, and the counting will have begun. In fact, we expect results to have started streaming in from some polling stations and maybe some constituency tallying centers as well. But what might that look like? I want to hear from my guests on that. And also, what are their camps, two of the leading political formations, planning in their final push for votes with 6 days and counting to the August 9th polls? That's why we have, joining us right now, insiders from Kenya Kwanza and Azimio, Senators Kipchumba Murkomen and Moses Kajwang here with us on Newsnight. Gentlemen, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Allow me to immediately comment on your attire. Yeah. Very different. Yeah. Is that an indication of your political leanings this evening?
Well, apart from the colors, which is blue and yellow, it is also ideological to the extent that this is how dynasties dress. And this is how hustlers dress.
Well, Wahiga,
I immediately have to give you a right of reply there.
I think it just tells you who's ready to start working from next week and who's ready to sit in the trenches and take on the role that we took a few years back. But I pray there'll be no running battle.
This attire is...
Yeah.
That's
no, the point is that you can see...
He's ready for the opposition.
You can see how dynasties think about work. When they think about work, they think it's wearing a tie. But for us, it's kazi ni kazi. So it's an ideological difference between us and what Moses is.
I hope we'll be able to make sense of that as we carry on with this conversation. We're 6 days and counting to the polls. 4 days left, I believe, of campaigns or so.
Correct.
How ready is your political formation? And Senator Kajwang, maybe I'll start with you on this one. How ready is your formation for the polls tonight?
We are very ready, and we've put up a very strong fight going around the country, telling Kenyans about what we plan to do, how we plan to do it. And with just a few days remaining, I think our message has gone to all corners of the country. And I believe that most Kenyans by now have decided on which team is able to address the most immediate needs, which is really about livelihoods. Having gone around the country, the issues around cost of living, the issues around economy, the issues around dignity when accessing social services like education, health, etc. All that, we've put up a very strong message. And right now, what is remaining, Wahiga, in my view, is just to get our supporters to vote on election day so that we can conclude this matter in the first round. I think it will be to the benefit of everybody, including those parents who had to bring their children back home early for the half-term, to ensure that we finish this electoral process, electoral contest, and then life goes back to normal. One thing I'm happy about is that even though we are going into an election where the incumbent is leaving office, we haven't seen the drums of war sounding. We haven't seen the kind of violent you know, the thing in the past, every election, you'd see pre-election violence, you'd see people mobilizing. Fortunately, this time round, we are not seeing a lot of that. And it would be useful for us to settle this in the first round so that our children can go back to school, our workers can go back to work, and the economy can be back on its trajectory.
Senator Murkomen, I know you might respond to a few of the things he's said, but how crucial are these next 4 days for your campaign?
They're very important. You know, you remember the story of the 10 virgins. That they were waiting for the wedding to take place. And we all know what happened to the 5 who were not ready in preparation for that wedding because their oil ran, the oil ran out. So for us, it is now about being watchful, being vigilant. We have no doubt in our mind that we've won this contest. Everything that we've done.
What are you basing your?
Yeah, well, all the opinion polls we've done internally, all the credible opinion polls that have come public, point to only one thing: that we are lucky. We managed to retain our original base as what we used to have.
Public opinion polls?
Yes. What we used
TIFA, Infotrack?
Infotrack and TIFA is just one of the many opinion polls that I have in the country. I don't know why people give a lot of credibility to only TIFA and Ipsos and all that. They are more than 5 other opinion pollsters. But most importantly for us, the opinion polls that we do internally, and which have remained consistent. It shows us that we've retained our support base from what we used to have in Jubilee, especially from the Mount Kenya region, the Rift Valley region, but also we've done exceptionally well in the western part of the country, where now we enjoy slightly over 50% of the support. In Coast region, where some of the counties we do 60%, but if you do an average, we are almost 50-50 with our competitors. And in the lower eastern areas, where now we are doing way over 40%, as unexpected from what we used to do when we were in Jubilee in 2017. So I don't see, for us on our side, it's just being vigilant. Vigilant in terms of ensuring that our agents are in place in good time, dealing with the massive propaganda that comes from state apparatus, including, for example, the dropping of leaflets in the country, like you've seen. You saw the edited video that was being posted by Junet and Joho today, where they took the speech of the Deputy President in Eldoret and edited it to suit a way of creating a wedge among Kenyans. And I really want to appreciate what Moses is saying, that to a great extent, the pre-election period at the moment, 4 days to go, no political party side, neither our side nor their side, from the politicians, have been found culpable of organizing violence in any way.
That's something and
that's something to congratulate everybody. We need not say who used to organize the violence before. But the threat now to these elections is not in the Azimio politicians or us on our side as politicians, but state agents who want to instigate a conflict to assist one side of the political divide. But the good thing is that when we call out these people as early as we've done, we are able to deal with this situation. I'm glad that some of those people who have been arrested are now saying, oh, you know, this came from these apparatus, from these agents.
Let me ask you this. It's very interesting you brought that up, and I want him to respond to that as well. In 2017, it was ODM complaining about state agents. And I remember your camp would dismiss those as allegations, as propaganda, baseless as well. Why should we believe you? And in 2017, your camp was the one saying there's nothing to that.
What if we say that ODM was right?
What if?
What if we say that they were right that time, and therefore we are also right now? Will that solve the problem?
No.
I'm just saying. The problem I have is if you come to the conclusion that ODM was right in 2017 to complain about misuse of state apparatus, okay, and those of us who were in Jubilee then and government side were wrong, yeah, then it is expected in these elections ODM will remain consistent in complaining against the state harassment. For example, let me give you this example.
But one would say that then those who are in Jubilee
former Prime Minister, we can remain in, we can, if, let me just come to this first.
Okay, and I'll cut you at some point.
Yes, exactly, just brief one, and I'll want him to respond to this. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has consistently for the many years complained about use of chiefs, national administration, which was then provincial administration, to organize rallies and try to influence elections. And he's been consistent about that for, for the longest, maybe 20, 30 years. Then suddenly, is the one that his rallies are being organized, provincial administration, chiefs and all that are being organized to do elections. Martha Karua was consistent for the longest, except for the short period that he was with President Kibaki in government before she resigned, that state apparatus should not be used to interfere elections. But now she's the one benefiting from that legis of government, but also interference of elections. Now,
and you'll have
I'm just saying,
elections,
of course, I am ready to do that. So, but I'm just saying this.
Yes, assuming
that has been the correct position all through, yeah. And assuming also the way you've told me that we were on this other side and we were wrong in 2017. Yeah, and I admit, if there was a place that government interfered with election 2017 and we defended, we were wrong. But isn't it better that I was wrong in 2017 and saw the light in 2022 than somebody who for 30 years pretended to have seen the light, but now has gone to darkness in 2022.
Hold on there.
Where is the
Senator
consistency?
Kajwang, come in.
Well, with a lot of bravado, Deputy President, who's the flag bearer on Kipchumba's side, has told us, and he has asked Kenyans to look him in the face, and he's put the question, do I look like someone whose election can be rigged? And do I look like someone who can be affected by the so-called deep state? He has challenged us time and time again that there is no deep state that you'll benefit from. And he said he is the deep state, such that if there's any benefit accruing from the deep state, it would go to him as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Kipchumba has made a statement which really should be monumental, that assuming they were right in 2017, that would then mean that we probably were right to say that we won the elections in 2017 and in the previous years. But that is not where we want to take Kenya, because there are a lot of things that have happened in the past, and we need to cast our glance forward. My experience with the provincial administration and the chiefs, and you know that our position in the Senate has been that we should not have a provincial administration structure that competes with the structures of devolution. They should be complementary, but not in competition. Mm-hmm. My experience with the chiefs and sub-chiefs in the local areas. For example, Kipchumba's sub-chief, there is no way you're going to convince him to vote for somebody beside the person Kipchumba supports. My sub-chief, there is no way, even if you're the one paying him a salary and giving him a motorbike, my own sub-chief, let me finish, Mr. Ojuka Oreng, my own sub-chief, and my own chief, because they are our brothers and sisters, and they've been deployed in their respective homes.
And it is their right to vote for whoever they want to vote for, whether it's your sub-chief or his sub-chief.
It is their right. And for you to tell them to mobilize for someone who is perceived to not to be the darling of the community is an uphill task. Where I've seen the provincial administration play a role is our people have complained of consistent marginalization and discrimination when it came to issuance of identity cards. Now, chiefs are very, very important when it comes to issuance of identity cards. You can't get them without an approval from the chief. If you don't have an identity card, you can't get a voter's card. That has been the theater where the provincial administration would then be called to take certain positions that then would discriminate people who are seen to be opposing government. We have seen that, and consistently with time, we have worked with the national government to ensure that in our regions, you know, there are places like the islands of Lake Victoria, counties that border Uganda. It used to take forever. It used to be almost impossible to get ID cards. And that's why you see even voter numbers in certain parts of the country that are perceived to be opposition tended to be low in the past. But progressively, we are seeing them increasing. I don't see any influence that chiefs and the provincial administration will have on changing the thought process and the decisions that Kenyans have already made over the last 3 months or over the last 4 months.
We actually have an agreement in studio.
Over the last 4 months of campaign. So the beef around chiefs really, to me, is a red herring and probably just setting the stage for a petition that maybe there were some irregularities and illegalities committed. But the practical thing, and Kipchumba will confirm this, the practical thing is that the chief in Embobut and the sub-chief in Embobut, if the people of Embobut don't support Raila Odinga, there is no way you're going to force him to vote for Raila Odinga.
Tell me
they also can't force someone to vote.
I know he wants to jump in. Opinion polls. You've heard his take. He says the three that have been widely recognized for many years in this country are not the only opinion polls we should consider. What's Azimio's stand on opinion polls?
We think that they have understated our ratings. We believe that we are above 50+1.
Understated?
Yes, we believe that we are at 50+1. And unlike Kipchumba's team that is doing an ethnic census to assert their positioning, we are not looking at it from an ethnic perspective where you are counting this tribe and lumping another tribe and saying that because we have this community and this figurehead from this community, then we have the entire country. I think we believe that we are at 50+1 because we've been the more responsive team to the issues facing Kenyans. You know, Waiga, in the last 2-3 months, we've launched manifestos. And if you look at Kipchumba's manifesto and our manifesto, to be truthful, they are alike because they are all drawn from the Vision 2030. They are all drawn from the medium-term plans. They are all drawn from the sessional papers. They are alike. The only difference between the two formations is who can implement them faithfully.
Okay, I'll stop you there. We'll dig deeper into manifestos. Let him respond.
We jumped to, there was something earlier that he talked about. Yeah, chiefs, yes. I agree with Moses entirely that the attempted misuse of national administration and the chiefs and why we have this information is because in areas, for example, like Nakuru, where the state was trying to use chiefs, in areas like Nyeri, I mean, in Kirinyaga, for example, you saw on national TV, a chief was on top of Azimio vehicle campaigning in Kirinyaga. It has never happened, even in the days.
I personally did not see it, but, but maybe you'll send me that clip after.
Yes, I can send you.
Okay.
That. And I'm sure even your director can retrieve it as we continue. But the point is this. The point is that even in the days that President Moi was accused of misuse of state resources, there was no time a chief on uniform was seen campaigning for KANU on top of a KANU vehicle. But you saw that happening in Kirinyaga. You saw what's happening in Nakuru, where chiefs are being called into a meeting and they're being told they must talk government language. There's a government project called Azimio and they must sell it. I agreed, though, with Moses that even that attempted misuse of national administration will not change anything. Will not change anything. And that's why we have this confidence. When the Deputy President says that it will be impossible to steal our votes, is because we have the confidence that by virtue of the message that we've sold to the people of Kenya, the police, the chiefs, the national administration, everybody else is part and parcel of the Kenya we are selling to the people of Kenya. And by the way, Moses, I don't know where you got this misguided idea that we are selling the same thing. You must have been listening only to yourself. For us, we are selling something completely different. We are selling completely different. We are selling a bottom-up approach of economic development and growth. They are still selling the trickle-down economics or the theory. For us, our idea, we are basing our manifesto on changing on a paradigm shift, changing the model for this country, the way we've done things. For us, the reason why I believe that we are going to be elected, I don't know where Moses got this idea that when I say in the Mount Kenya region we have retained our support, or in the Rift Valley we have retained our support. Call it an ethnic-based census. I know where he gets the ethnics, because in Mount Kenya region is not only one community. In Rift Valley is entirely almost all tribes of the Republic of Kenya. So when I say we are retaining our support in the Rift Valley and the Mount Kenya region, in Nairobi, for example, whatever support we had in Nairobi, we've retained when we were in Jubilee, we've retained in UDA, is basically has nothing to do with ethnic census, and we don't talk about ethnic.
What's the final tally that you are getting from your polls? He's given us 50% plus one. He actually says he feels
well, yeah, but for us, to be very fair, even the latest one I have seen is 53%. It's 53%. Yeah.
When? Today? Yes?
Yes. Waiga, by the way, Radio Africa does opinion polls. IRS does opinion polls. Mizani does opinion polls. We do our own internal polls. We do it ourselves, internally. You have qualified
Yes,
we have all the qualified pollsters, all the machines and everything. We have also, you saw the other day they were attempting to raid offices because of us carrying our opinion polls and trying and breaking computers and all that. And we have also commissioned an independent opinion pollsters to do for us. About 5 opinion polls that I am privy to rate us between 53 and 56. Why I don't trust the Ipsos, for example?
Okay.
If you're asking me. No, I'm just, yeah, so I see them all the time here, and I'm not here. When they are talking here, when you are always calling them every week.
But they're not here talking about Kipchumba.
Absolutely. No, but they're talking about us. They're talking about our political formation, and they are passing it as if it is.
They've carried out polls which they've carried out in 2013.
And I am glad, Waiga, you are raising that issue. When you call those people here,
we don't
alone. No, I'm just saying, you call them here alone and challenge, choose only 2 pollsters because it favors one side of the political divide. I would like to challenge you, Waiga, when you call again my friend Tom Wolf, or you call one of those people who is coming here, call me here. Let me come and challenge their statistics. Call someone from Azimio. Call someone from UDA.
Okay.
Let us come here. Let's not just have them coming here to pontificate
your advice is
about figures. No, I'm just saying about figures. Exactly. About figures that we know they are false. Let me ask you, challenge you something. You know that Citizen TV on 1st of August 2017 published opinion polls from Ipsos that said Uhuru was 41%, Raila was 52 or 53%. But it was not the truth. We are used to that. Okay. So that's why I'm telling you, we cannot say, because of their longevity and the fact that they have done opinion polls for many years, that they have a credibility that they have never, in any case, they have never predicted any president.
You've passed your point across. So let me then
the contrary is the opposite.
You're giving your camp 53 to 56%.
Yeah.
You're giving your camp 50% plus one majority. In fact, you say it's understated. The IBC has 7 days from the election day to declare a winner. They cannot declare both your camps.
Absolutely.
What happens after that? Both of you are so bullied to this competition that you are the outright winners. Yeah. What are you going to tell Kenyans tonight, Kajwang?
You see, Kipchumba is also an accomplished academic. And he knows that when you're writing academic papers, you can cite Wikipedia, but it will take you far. But you know, you'll require public
Moses, are you insulting Wikipedia on national TV?
No, you can't reference Wikipedia. So some of the farms that have given them above 50%, I would liken them to Wikipedia. But the Msema Kweli is next week. We have, as you've said, just a few days to the election. You know, we have deliberately tried not to project ourselves as being at 60% or those high percentages. Why? They sometimes bring about apathy, and they bring about a sense of tayari tumeshinda. We want to tell our people that there must be a sense of urgency and a sense of importance in this coming election. It's not just because Tom Wolf said we are ahead. It's not just because somebody else said they're ahead. We want our people to exercise their civic responsibility and take this election seriously. Because if we don't make the right decisions, then probably Kenya will take the route of failed nations. And we can't gamble with that. And so, Waiga, that's why, even though we've also done a lot of internal polls and we've benefited from a lot of resources, which gives us the comfort that we are ahead.
A lot of state resources.
We don't want to tell our people that this thing, we have taken it. You know, we've got a phrase that is usually quite fashionable where I come from. It says, Giniwasekao. That means you find so many people coming to political rallies, and then when it comes to the point of reckoning, people don't vote. And that has been our handicap in the past elections. You've seen we've been capable of filling Uhuru Park. We've been capable of filling Afra and Kenyatta Stadium and Tononoka. And then on the election day, you find that the turnout did not exceed 75%. Correct. So this time round, we are not giving our people a false or an early sense of victory. We want them to affirm it. We don't want the pollsters to be the ones to affirm it. And I think it will be to the benefit of everyone for us to have a decisive outcome next week. Absolutely. Because as things look, it is possible for Uhuru Kenyatta to be in a state of temporary incumbency for another 5 months. It's very possible. And you know, in that situation, the economy cannot move forward because you cannot make far-reaching decisions. Yes, Parliament would be sitting, but Parliament would not be able to make any fundamental changes to the structure of the economy, the structure of politics, and the social structure of this country. And so I think the common message coming both from Kipchumba's side and our side should be, let people come out to vote. Let them be the ones whose voice is heard, rather than the voice of the pollsters. Absolutely. So that our children can go back to school. Okay. You know, as a young parent, that's dear to my heart, Wahiga. Our children stayed out of school for so long because of COVID. They should not stay out for another 1 month because of uncertain election outcome.
You've raised some fair points, and there's a saying out there that Kenyans have no problem turning out to vote. Yeah. The challenge comes in the transmission and declaration of those votes. 2017 still remains very clear in our minds. I'm sure it does in your minds as well, which makes me wonder, your party leader, your side has come out categorically, this election will not be stolen.
Absolutely.
We know how we will.
Absolutely.
And I guess that means there is a plan to, quote unquote, guard the vote, or to at least ensure that, you know, the IBC does its task properly. What's the Kenya Kwanza strategy, if you can let us
by the way,
into
Waiga, much as we disagree with President Uhuru Kenyatta on everything, including the insults he's hurling at us, President Uhuru Kenyatta won 2017 elections fair and square. I can tell you that without fear of any contradiction. There is nothing we did to IEBC for Uhuru to win. That is the confidence we carry along with us. When we tell our supporters, there is nothing you can do to interfere with the elections once you've gone to the polling station and vote. So the point...
and are you able to now give us specifics? Next, what's the plan?
Well, our plan, that is what I'm saying. Our plan, first of all, is to, as much as possible, make Kenyans aware. Let's start from there, aware of the misuse of state apparatus to attempt to cause, for example, there have been plans to try to cause disruptions in strongholds that state agents and projects don't think that they have more votes.
Have you reported these plans?
We've even written to the NIS director, Mr. Kameru. He's watching, so I'm sure he knows that. We've the issue of the leaflets being dropped in the Rift Valley, we've also said it, and I've said it without fear of contradiction. And if any state agent thinks that I am wrong, they should call me for a recording statement.
Interior CS Matiang'i today, completely.
The NIS are the ones dropping the leaflets. The politicians who came quickly to public to come and announce these leaflets, we are totally united in the Rift Valley. Even those of us who are in opposite political side, that there is no window for anyone to use these elections to cause incitement in our region. And people are free. We have
so
candidates.
That's step one.
Yeah, exactly. We have candidates, including in my own county, who are running on an opposite political party. So to start with, for us, we want to make Kenyans aware of these machinations, which I don't want to accuse my friend Moses or his party leader. These must be schemes of desperados who feel that the project they have been running is not successful. That's why they want to cause problems for the people of Kenya. So the first thing, every day, if you see us blowing these things and making it public, is for the best interest of the country, so that we have a peaceful elections and post-elections region.
Okay.
Number two, we will deploy our agents as required by the law to every polling station.
You have 46,000 agents.
Absolutely, 46,000. We will have an agent in every gazetted polling station. Every. And we have the resources and the means. By the way, when I talk about resources, they are, of the 46,000 agents we require, we have volunteers that exceed even the 46,000. So it's up to us to now vet and be able to make sure that the right people are manning the station. We have also mechanisms for monitoring the elections. I mean, ourselves.
You have what, a tallying center?
We have, of course, definitely. There is no political party that cannot have a tallying center. Even me as a senator of Elgeyo Marakwet, I have my tallying center. So we have a tallying center.
Where it's located.
And I'm sure the media, no, it's an open thing. It cannot be hidden because you are not tallying. You don't have a specific, you don't have any different result. The same way the media houses will have their tallying centers, Azimio will have their tallying center, we will have our tallying center, definitely. And the last thing I want to tell you is that once the selections is done, and we have won because I believe we will win, you know, this country will be peaceful. I also believe that in the most unlikely event that we lose, this country will remain peaceful because we are ready to accept results. And we are not giving ifs and buts. Or buts.
No court petitions? Or you're saying even in the midst of that? Even
if you have a court petition, which is a constitutional allowed process, because I mean, it's still a peaceful way of solving disputes. We've never accused even CORD or NASA then for going to court. The thing I'm going to tell you is that for as long as anything depends on our side, yeah, when responsible behavior is required of us, we are going to be in our best behavior, either as winners or losers. Okay,
that's a fair pledge to make, and Kenyans are watching you this evening. Senator Kajwang', your party leader has, during previous elections, complained publicly about the IEBC preparations for the elections, 2017, 2013. 2017, his case was actually the reason why we went back for a repeat election. What's the feeling this time around from your camp? Do you have confidence in the IEBC, and what's your strategy to guard the vote, so to speak?
Polling stations will open at 6 and will close by 5. And I can tell you that in the counting in polling stations, by 7 o'clock latest, we'll have the tally at the polling station. And with our army of volunteers and our army of agents, by 9 p.m. on the 9th of August, we will have known the numbers that will make Raila. By 9 p.m.
3 hours after?
3 hours, yes.
Roughly?
Yes, because you remember there's a jurisprudence that the tally at the polling station is final.
It's the law.
And so if we have 46,000 polling stations and we've got an average of 10 agents plus volunteers, it means that once the count is done, when they are packing to move to the sub-county tallying center, we will already have the numbers. And I believe that even the media will already be having the numbers by 9 p.m. on the 9th of August. Coming back to the issue of IEBC and their readiness to conduct this election. Elections are prescribed in the Constitution, the date and time, the frequency is prescribed in the Constitution. From the last time when it was Raila versus IEBC, there were several issues that were raised and several issues that led to the nullification of the first presidential election. And I can imagine the pain of a candidate campaigning, running, getting a result in their favor, and then being subjected to a fresh election because the referee messed up. Because in many of the cases, it's a referee that messed up. In fact, you didn't have a lot of fingers pointing at Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. Most of the fingers were pointing at IEBC. Having been beaten once, of course, you have to be twice shy. Our party leader has been consistently calling upon the IEBC to close the gaps that led to the nullification of the previous presidential results. Because nobody, no politician, wants to be sent back to the trenches for another 60 days on the account of errors by the referee. Nobody would want to restart the game simply because the referee blew the whistle at the wrong time. And that is why we put pressure on the IEBC. We've asked, even the issue of manual register, it wasn't a big deal. I saw people complaining and saying, why are we giving conditions to IEBC? We have talked to IEBC at the grassroots. The manual register will be used in very, very exceptional circumstances where technology fails. And in that case, IEBC has told us, for you to then vote outside the electronic system, you must hold your ID to your chest, there has to be photo evidence, and all that has to be filed. There's the issue of how sufficiently trained are voters as they head to the election. Unfortunately, this time round, the IEBC never carried out civic education and voter education to ensure that Kenyans know what is expected of them ahead of this election. So these are some of the issues we've been talking about, but we are ready to play. We just don't want a situation where our victory is nullified or reversed because the referee messed up, the way it did in the last election. And I really sympathize with those people who had to go for a fresh election, who had to go back to campaign because the referee messed up. And that's why we even said there was no point of us participating in the rerun, because the referee was the same, the issues were the same, the technology was the same, you'd end up with the same outcome. I do hope that IEBC has learned their lessons. We cannot say that they are perfect. We can't even say that they are excellent. I think they're above average, but I hope that they will be looking at the interests of the nation, putting it ahead, and they will resist any temptation to be persuaded by either side. The solution to it, and this all of us know, is to drive voter turnout so that the outcome is emphatic.
That's what will make the difference.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I wish you were able to teach some of your political allies. I need to take a short break.
Just before that, just a quick response to this. I hope, Moses, this time around you leave IEBC alone. You know, there has been a lot, you know, IEBC has been a punching bag for many of us politicians when we are not doing well politically. And you saw now I see you have a cordial relationship with IEBC. Going by the phone call the other day, Junet made to the commissioners and arranging for a very
call which he denied, said it was doctored.
It cannot be doctored. Doctored by who?
Wetangula.
Doctored by who?
We had one from Wetangula also within the same space.
Yeah, well, but I am speaking for mine. You didn't speak for Wetangula. The last time you said, you know, the last time you guys said that you're having a problem with IEBC because Wetangula is on our side. But you were with Wetangula for 10 years and it didn't help you. So the point I'm trying to say is that, and I'm not, did you hear me complain? I've just told you, I hope now, you guys, because we saw from Junet's call that you have a cordial relationship with the IEBC, that this time round you're not going to use IEBC as a punching bag. And for once, we concentrate on making sure that we assist the IEBC to succeed, rather than, we used a lot of energy to fight Chiloba, okay? But now Chiloba is working for the government that you are very happy with. We fought people's careers, and I'm lucky that Chiloba succeeded to survive. And so for us, we are not interested in fighting IEBC commissioners or officials.
That's your message tonight.
We are interested in facilitating and assisting them to be able to do successful elections. And this idea of every time
I got to take that break.
Creating a scaremongering institution, sort of, for us to blame our failures. Let us support IEBC.
Let us support IEBC. Briefly, please. I need to take that break.
Whenever we raise issues about IEBC, the primary defender of IEBC will be Kipchumba Murkomen in a rally somewhere on top of a vehicle, and William Ruto somewhere on top of a vehicle. And that worries us. And whenever they talk about, they choose which government agency to blame. They want to defend IEBC, they want to blame the provincial administration.
Yeah, because they have no business with the election.
That when the Supreme Court nullified the election results in the last election, the wrath was not on the IEBC, the wrath was on the judiciary. That tells you that there's some coziness that has been there between certain political players and the IEBC. But we are confident.
But that wrath was from the Azimio chairman. So now that the Azimio chairman is on your side, you should be comfortable.
We are confident.
You should not be complaining about IEBC.
Probably there's a remnant in Jubilee who is now running on the
How can that remnant be more? How can that remnant be more powerful? More powerful than your Azimio?
We see him on vehicle. Every time Junet says something about IEBC, every time Paul Mwangi says something technical about IEBC, like those forms that were duplicated, who gets the first right of reply? It's his presidential candidate on top of a vehicle, then Ndindi Nyoro. Then you start asking yourself, who is a spokesman of the IEBC? Is it a political player? You can't have a political player defending and being...
But isn't it the right of all political players to defend independent institutions?
Exactly.
Yes, it is. But when a political player raises an issue that is pertinent and an issue that would benefit all the players on the field, there's one side that has had this tendency of dismissing any issue raised about the referee. But that does not worry us. What we need IEBC to do is to cure the illegalities and irregularities that were cited by the Supreme Court and let this match be decided
we're 6 days.
At the ballot. Let it be decided at the ballot. And as I've told you, that by 9 p.m. on the 9th of August, we will know who the next president of the Republic of Kenya will be. We'll just be waiting for the formal announcement. So Kenyans don't need to
take off 2-3 days as was...
we'll just be waiting for the formal announcement at Bomas because the law designates Chebukati as the one to announce. But the data will already be there because all the 46,000 polling stations, the count will have been done. And I do hope that when we win, as we expect to win, we shall get by 10 p.m. a phone call from William Ruto congratulating Raila Odinga for having been elected as a president of the Republic of Kenya.
Now you're provoking him.
For his entire, for Moses to expect a phone call from William Ruto is genuine enough because he knows William Ruto is a gentleman. But for us to expect a phone call from Raila Odinga will be unheard of because there is no elections in his entire political career where he has competed for presidency. There is no one day he has made a phone call to his competitor to concede defeat. So this will be history. One of the historical moments, one of the historical moments Kenyans are waiting is Raila Odinga making a phone call to William Ruto to concede. That will be history.
Okay, and let's take a break on that note. When we come back, I'll read your feedback. If you're not defending your seat, this would have been your last week as a Jubilee senator?
Absolutely.
Right? That's right? How does it feel?
I'm already an outside. I'm now in here.
We'll talk a bit about that when we come back. And I'll read your feedback as well. 224 is the SMS line. Hashtag Newsnight. We're having a sober conversation. 6 days to the polls. I hope their allies are listening. I hope that's the tone we'll hear out there. The problem is they get on top of those vehicles and something changes. Watching Newsnight. Stay with us. We'll be right back.